Chapter 10 of The Calling by L.C PYE. Talia. Horror filled me as I ran to the little girl and bent down to check on her. Brushing the hair from her damp skin, I gave her a light shake. "Are you okay? Can you hear me?" The little girl only responded with a moan. As she scrunched up her face in pain, I turned to Audrey, but she looked more terrified than I felt. I checked the girl's pulse, which was weak. It was obvious from her clammy skin that she had a fever. "We need to get her to a healer," I said. "Go get some help," I directed Audrey. She snapped into action and sprinted away from me. I stayed on my knees next to the little girl, monitoring her breathing. "It hurts," she whimpered. "I want my mother." She couldn't have been more than 10 years old. "I know, don't worry," I said reassuringly. "You're gonna be okay. You'll get back with your mother soon." I placed her head in my lap, gently stroked her hair. Audrey came back with Eaton alone and Gil behind her. Eaton reached down and gently scooped up the little girl as if she weighed nothing. "We need to take her to the village healers," I told Eaton as I made sure her head was supported in his arms. "It's through that arch over there." Gil pointed to the closest archway leading out of the Penta. Maybe that was where the little girl was headed. It didn't take us long to reach the healer's quarter, especially with Eaton's long strides. I stayed focused on the little girl the whole way, watching her breathing. When we came to the first healing house, we all slowed down. There were people lined up alongside the whole building. Most were using the building as support as they sat or laid on the ground. "Eaton, take her in with Talia. The rest of us will stay out here and hopefully figure out what is happening." Eaton followed me into the packed healing house. Inside was atrocious people. People were laying on any surface available and crying out in pain. Tears filled my eyes as I examined the countless faces in pain. Running between the sick were 3 healers. "Excuse me," I called, but my voice didn't carry over the other voices crying out for help. I raised my hand to Eaton, signaling for him to stay. It wouldn't be worth it for him to try and maneuver his way through the maze of people. I made my way to the woman healer. "Excuse me, ma'am." The healer jumped back at my words, placing a hand on her chest when she saw me. "Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you, but we found a little girl collapsed on the ground." I turned to point at Eaton carrying the tiny girl in his large arms. "Gemma?" The healer pushed past me and ran to Eaton. She gingerly placed the back of her hand on the girl's forehead. "David, it's Gemma!" she yelled over her shoulder. Her voice was tight. "Andres, find a clear spot for her." Worry was evident on her face. I could only assume that this little girl was hers. They had the same sun-kissed brown hair and carried the same small button nose. "Thank you so much for your help," she said, turning to Eaton and me. "If you both don't mind following me." She led us to a room in the back filled with medical supplies and herbs. The smell hit me hard. It brought me back to times when I helped my mother. A body was already in the clearing of a table. "Place her here." "Esther, what happened?" Another healer came into the room. He was older, closer to the woman's age. Then he saw the little girl on the table and rushed over, picking up her hand. "Gemma, it's Father. Can you hear me?" "I'm sorry," Gemma whimpered. I tried to fight it." "Shh, honey. It's not your fault. Rest." The father continued to pat her hand. "David, what are we going to do?" Esther grabbed Gemma's other hand. Unsure of what to do, I stepped back next to Eaton. Who are they? The boy in the room pointed at me and Ethan. Oh my, yes. Esther let go of Gemma's hand and came over. Thank you again for bringing my daughter to safety. Of course, I said, still lost regarding what was happening around me. What is going on? Why are there so many sick? Esther's face fell. We honestly don't know what the cause is. 3 days ago, people started to come in complaining about abdominal pain. We assumed it was from the food that had gone sour, but almost the whole village is now dealing with the same symptoms. We've lost 5 villagers. The room fell quiet. I tightened my hands around my cloak, unsure of what to say or do. Esther, we need to get back to the others. Andres can stay here with Gemma. David placed his arms over her shoulder, bringing her to his side. We have to get back to helping everyone else. I nodded my head, still trying to process how this could be happening to a whole village. Eaton led the way back out as I racked my brain for answers to their problem. Once outside, the others found us. Eaton relayed what happened, and alone confirmed that they had learned the same thing. Some sickness had taken over the village. Someone has to help these people, I interrupted. Alone? Why hasn't there been help sent from the king or surrounding villages? How is no one helping these people? Alone walked closer to me. The village might not have asked for any help, or if they did, the call for help wasn't answered. In our travels, we have learned that not many villages care about what is happening to others, as long as it doesn't affect them. There was a hard truth to his words, and I wanted to deny, but experiencing the segregation between the callings in Gasmere firsthand, I believed his words. Can we do anything to help?